Welcome everyone. We are here in south of France during Cannes Lions, where some of the biggest conversations in branding, marketing, and creativity in the creator economy are happening all around us. Over the last week, our observations that have stayed with me, it wasn't a campaign, it wasn't a platform, it wasn't a new technology, it was actually a shift here at Cannes Lions. For many years, brand professionals have said they build brands, creators have built audiences, communities and influence. Marketing has worked to turn both of those into business results. So today, those lines feel very blurred more than ever. Creators are influencing product development. Brands are adapting to the creator culture. The relationship between creators and brands have fundamentally changed. And that got me thinking, who shapes a brand today? Is it the brand itself? Is it the creator, the marketer, or has the answer become all the above? So instead of trying to settle this debate, Chris, I told you to leave your boxing gloves at home. This is not that kind of conversation.
Got you.
I thought it'd be more interesting to bring together two different schools of thought. Today's conversation isn't about declaring a winner here. It's about examining the assumptions we each bring into the room. So my hope is that by the end of this conversation, we all leave with a broader perspective than the one we walked into. So joining me today are two people whose work have shaped these conversations from different vantage points. We have Lia Haberman. She is one of the leading voices covering the creator economy, social media, digital culture. She's a corporate marketing consultant specializing in social and influencer marketing, teaches social media and influencer marketing at UCLA, and publishes the In Case You Missed It newsletter, reaching more than 45,000 subscribers.
Just 60 now.
Wow,
Sorry,
yes.
that's
Thank you for the
so,
correction.
yeah.
Please note that. Then we have Mr. Chris Do, the founder and CEO of The Future. For more than 27 years, he's helped creative professionals think about branding, business, and value, reaching millions through his YouTube channel, podcast, educational platform, all the above. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's start by defining the landscape real quick for everyone watching here. Lia, when someone says the word creator, what does that mean to you today? How do you think people still are thinking about what a creator is?
Well, are you asking what comes to my mind
Yes.
or what comes to people's mind?
Because
What comes to my mind is
Yes.
small business and entrepreneur. What comes to people's minds, I think, is lifestyle influencer who takes selfies. Like, I still think that there is not a mass acceptance of creator or influencer as business owner. Like, they are both like the business owner, they are the product, they are the marketing department, they are the finance department, they're all those things. They are the biz dev department. And I fundamentally believe that and have thought that since I started working with creators over 10 years ago now. But I think if you talk to the general public, they are still going to have this like, oh, it's somebody that takes selfies and tries to get free stuff, which is, I hate that misconception, but I think it's still around.
So you think people are absolutely still underestimating what creators actually do?
Yes,
The work,
100%.
the expertise, the creativity behind it.
Yes, 100%.
Chris, when someone says the word brand, what does that mean to you today?
What kind of context are we talking about here?
As it relates to how a content creator might be able to see in their mind what their definition is, and I want to compare that what you teach your audience, what encompasses a brand.
I see. Okay, so I'll follow Lia's lead here. I think the general public, at least in the creative communities, think a brand is what designers do in the visual aspect. They think about the logo, the trademarks, the colors and the typeface and how it appears. But we know brand is way more than that. Brand is the total of everything that you do across multiple touch points. It's the entire customer journey and experience summed up. And so you can influence it with creators or marketing departments, but ultimately the people who create the brand are the consumers, the customers themselves.
Boom. Do you think branding has a little bit of a branding problem?
Not really.
No?
I think it's okay.
Yeah?
I just think that sometimes public conception is often misinformed and we throw around terms we don't fully understand. So I'm glad that we're having these kinds of conversations.
That leads perfect into my next question. what do you both believe is the biggest misconception that people have about your particular industry? Chris, we can start with you since you kind of led to it.
Okay. I don't know what industry you consider me to be in. So
Branding.
you think, okay,
Yes.
that's fascinating.
We're going to get into that though, but from a branding perspective.
So what is the public's misconception about what I do in terms of branding?
Yes.
Okay. I have to confess, I've done a handful of branding projects where I would consider it legitimately where we're working on strategy, marketing, copywriting, the visual aspects, the customer journey.
Yeah.
So I'm not that deep in it. But it's interesting that people have come to see like an outsized amount of work, even though it's not really there, just because you have the reach. And I think that's saying something about the times. So oftentimes we now will equate somebody as the best of whatever they do because they're the most top of mind, and it's something we need to pay attention to.
What about you, Leah? What is the biggest misconception?
So I want to follow up on something that you said before that tied into what you said at the top of the conversation, and that is about like the audience, the community. I think one of the big misconceptions, and like only in Cannes can you be like next to somebody that comes up on water skis while you're doing a
It's perfect.
anyways, yeah, it's very thematic.
Yes.
I think the misconception that people have, that brands have, is that brands are no longer owners of their own stories. And I would not say it's like the brand or a branding problem. I would not say it's a creator issue or that creators are to play a part in this. I mean, maybe a little. I would say it's audience, the audience, community, consumer, customer, whatever you want to call it. Like the people on the other side of the screen, they are the people that are most responsible, I think, for shaping your brand. And I think that is a very, very hard pill for brands, marketers, comms people, PR people, C-suite to understand or to kind of agree with, because obviously, as brand people, we try and keep really tight control on the message and the brand guidelines and all of that stuff. And it's like we are heading into an era, especially with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They are fundamentally creators. And not just creators as in trying to grow an audience or build their own brand, but like they take content online. They will take your logo, they will take your reels, they will take your brand messaging, they will twist it, shape it, remix it, repost it, screenshot it. And so I think the biggest thing is that I think brands just in general have got to realize that they're no longer in control. And I think they need to start ceding a little bit. They can't even cede it. People have already taken control from them. Yeah. I think it's try to find ways to collaborate or co-create with your audience so that you're more involved in the remixing and reshaping of the content and the final output. You've played a role, you've helped the audience build your brand with you. So yeah, sorry,
Absolutely.
That went on for a while,
great.
But I feel strongly about that.
We see that branding is being reduced sometimes to just a logo or the visual identity, and creators just to the content that they produce. But ultimately, we're realizing in both cases that there's a tremendous amount of strategy happening underneath the surface. Maybe that's why these both creator industry and branding industry there's so much time misunderstanding each other, and I want to build on that, go a little bit further. Let's make this practical, right? Let's take the brand Poppy. You guys are familiar with the brand Poppy, yeah. the drink.
They're here down the beach. Yep. Yeah.
So imagine Poppy had the exact same product, the exact same positioning, exact same brand strategy, exact same visual identity, but no creator economy, no creator partnerships, no influencer marketing, no user generated content. Does it become the brand it is today?
No. As much as I say community helps, you have to have a community to begin with to like co-create on your brand material. And I think creator helps drive that initial discovery. So if you don't have that creator there at the outset, you are going to be probably dumping a lot of money into paid media. Just to get to that level where the audience starts working with you.
Would you agree or would you push back on that, Chris?
I agree. I don't know that much about Poppy, but I don't think that exists at all as a brand if it isn't with the influence and the trust and the community that's built around the person who created it.
Now let's flip it, okay? Imagine Poppy had thousands of creators talking about it, millions of views, constant social buzz, but no clear positioning. No memorable visual identity, no cohesive brand strategy, no distinct story, which we all know it for. Does it become the brand it is today without all that? Or does it just become another viral product?
I'll let you go first.
Oh yeah, I don't think it hits escape velocity without a story or with anything unique. What are people talking about? You have to give people things to talk about, and you have to give them some signals to understand the thing that I saw is the same thing that I'm seeing in the store. So if there's confusion or if there's blandness to it, what do they remember? What is it that they share with their friends? There are people who are very excited about sharing new information with people, and if you don't give them a story to tell, what are they going to do?
To add on to that, I think that is a great point. That would never be my answer. I think that particularly comes from your area of expertise. I would say from the creator side, what I would think of is when a creator works with a brand, it is a business partnership. It is like two brands collaborating. It's like Nike pairing up with, I don't know, Crocs or whatever. I'm trying to think right now of who paired together, but there are a lot of cross collaboration things, and both companies need to be aligned. They need their values, their identities, their the output. They need everything to work together. And it's the same thing, as I said, as creators are small businesses, they're aligning themselves with the brand. And if there is no story, if there are no visuals, if there's no strong identity, who are they partnering with? They're essentially partnering with nobody. And then you get into a situation where you're putting too much responsibility on the creator to rescue your product. And you're like, oh, we've got no buzz, but I'm sure hiring this creator and paying them $500 for a reel or a TikTok is going to be the thing that kind of makes us go viral. And it doesn't work like that.
So,
can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Nike collaborates with fashion designers and people outside of their field. Because I'm a fan, the late Virgil Abloh, you can see what each party brings to the table, and I think this is helpful for brands who are thinking very old media and buying media placement and reach versus building something. I love this idea that you're bringing two different worlds together, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So Nike, while working with a relatively unknown designer, gives legitimacy, gives distribution, gives platform, gives manufacturing power to what this person can come up with. Virgil brings an insight from what young kids care about, especially in urban America. He has a sensibility, he has a fresh reinterpretation. Almost, for me at least, all the Nike collabs that are worthwhile is because they brought in an outsider, whereas their in-house team, for whatever reason, under the restrictions that they're put under, cannot come up with the same kind of fresh thinking. So you want that outside the box. So what brands are doing now that I think is just a huge mistake is going through companies just to buy more media eyeballs and impressions. That's the wrong way to do it. You're wasting your money. I'll take it, but you're wasting it.
So would you say, and both of you can answer this, are creators creating attention for a brand, or do they simply accelerate the attention that's already there? Let me say that again. Are creators creating new attention for a brand that wouldn't have otherwise had it? Or are they simply accelerating attention that's already there, meaning the brand has done the heavy lifting and they're using creators to accelerate it?
Lia, you go first.
I mean, it's probably both. Taking Poppy as an example, Poppy had really strong branding, was already using influencers, creators. And then they took Alex Earl to Coachella, and Alex Earl is a unicorn of influencer marketing. Pretty much any product that she recommends ends up selling out. And so I think in that case, Poppy had already worked to kind of grow with creators, influencers, but then they hired one particular influencer who really skyrocketed them. So I think it's it can be both.
I think the answer depends on the strategy and the brief. It's like if you intend just to distribute, then it's going to possibly accelerate what you already have.
Yeah.
But I think the better play is to collaborate and come up with different ideas and bring it to new audiences and have a totally different perspective. I think what you can take advantage of with creators is they can give you a fresh strategy that might be the thing that it's the tail that wags the dog. You might find a whole new way of talking about your product that resonates with people versus people who are in the ivory towers thinking this is what the people want.
It's true, and creators are really good at, you all are very good at telling stories that people want to listen to. Because there are a lot of stories. Anybody can tell a story, but it needs to be a really compelling story that somebody wants to listen to and gets invested in and engaged with. And I think that is what creators or creative people, but particularly creators, are really good at doing.
I've started wondering whether creators are quietly becoming some of the most influential brand strategists without ever calling themselves brand strategists. Do creators realize that they are contributing to a brand building, or do they think they're simply just helping a brand build awareness and audience?
No, I think any professional creator knows exactly their value, which is also why the cost of creators has gone up, because I think as creators have worked with brands, have worked on partnerships, have seen the value that they bring to the storytelling, to the credibility, to the trust, to the awareness, to all of these aspects, they want to be compensated accordingly. And so I think a professional creator is very acutely aware of how much value they bring to the business.
Chris, would you have I've seen the evolution of your career, right? You started in brand design or brand strategy and design, and now you've kind of moved on to teaching. You have a community. Would you still describe yourself primarily as a branding professional, coming back from the top of the conversation, or has your audience made you a creator?
Well, I don't accept either label. And I understand why people put on labels, because it's how we understand things. We associate something so that we can put it in a compartment in our brain. I've never described myself as a brand strategist or a designer. I look at myself, my core identity is an educator. Everything else comes out from that. I just want to teach. So sometimes it takes the shape of working with clients. I need to teach them about how their customers behave and what they really want. Or in the case today, I'm really trying to teach creative people how to learn the skill of business and entrepreneurship, or how to teach business professionals how to tap into creativity and build their personal brand.
We've talked a lot about creators and branding professionals, but I'm curious where they actually intersect in the work. So Chris, from your perspective, when does the creator typically enter the process today? Before strategy, during strategy, after strategy is already set, at launch? Where do you typically are seeing, from your vantage point, creators entering the process of the brand building? Because I know we and I have had a conversation of the natural progression of brand building. Where does content creator fall in that?
Sadly, in my experience, they enter too late. They're at the very, very end of the conversation. So I imagine a brand is talking to an agency, a traditional agency, and the agency works through an intermediary to partner up with influencers, and you're given this brief that's a mess. It's a hot mess, oftentimes. And then the creator is boxed into doing something that doesn't even make sense. My example is this. I think Mr. Beast is a terrific marketer, a brand builder, and a business person. Jimmy is just, his business acumen is through the roof, despite his young age. When he launched Beast Burger, he wasn't sitting there thinking about the logos or funny copywriting or a cool tagline. He's tapping into his audience and his community. He's like, if I say you show up, you show up. And he put on a gigantic stunt, which was in the middle of nowhere, open up one Beast Burger and just give as many burgers away. But he doesn't stop there, and this is where the genius of a creator is. He's like, what do we do at every 2 minutes to raise the stakes of this game? We're gonna start giving away cash. And then eventually they give away a car, and it's just out of control. And there's built-in tension into the story about the line and the creating traffic problems and issues and the police and all this kind of stuff. It's all been worked out, but we're tuning in for the story and the drama. And Beast Burger is part of the entire story. This is not something that I can imagine coming from a traditional agency.
Rapid fire here real quick before we wrap this up. Lia, if every creator disappeared tomorrow, what would brands have to get better at?
Oh wow, that's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I like your one.
I want to hear your answer.
I mean, unfortunately, here's the thing. If creators disappeared tomorrow, the standard of creativity and the expectation of creativity would plummet because creators are more creative. They're just better, like I said, at telling stories. So if they disappeared entirely, there's basically no competition. And so I think brands, honestly, would go back to a very kind of lazy, uncreative, whatever the standard was,
media buy, right?
Yeah, media buy. But I guess some media buys can be interesting and creative, but I just think that the bar would be so low. And I think creators have done really good things for brands, for branding people, for marketers. They've raised the bar. They are you've got to do better because we are outpacing you. So I think it has raised the bar creatively just across business in general. So I think if creators disappeared tomorrow, the competition would disappear, and I think brands would be like, all right, like so much for creativity, like that's out the window. And so unfortunately, I just think for like consumers, audiences, they're the ones that would lose out because there'd be that lack of storytelling and creativity just in the world in general, I think.
Yeah. Chris, if someone watching identifies as a creator, what's one thing you would encourage them to start learning about branding from a branding professional's perspective?
Oh,
what
wow.
do they need to understand a little bit better?
Great question. My quick answer is, I think you need to learn a little bit about it, but maybe stay away from it. It's like what you bring is a fresh perspective. I almost feel like if you learn too much, you fall into the same patterns again. It's back to like understanding users and writing copy, what's a clever tagline, how to position the product, and those are really boring ways to reach someone. I think we underestimate the intelligence of people, most of the time, not always, where if you're doing something cool and you're using a product in the process, we'll become really curious and we'll ask you about it. We'll demand to know what the product you're using. I get this in my videos all the time. They're like, what shoes are those? What glasses are those? Companies call me. But you know, that's how that would work versus like, oh, here's the new frames from blah, 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 models walking down the runway, where we cannot relate to people because they don't look like us. They don't talk like us.
Is this the wrong time to ask you what your frames are? Because I want those frames. We'll walk
can
out.
buy
I just realized.
Like,
Chris, Lia, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is an important conversation. I think more of these conversations where we have both the creator pro and a branding pro sitting at the same table are needed. And so I just appreciate these industries have more to learn from each other than they probably realize. We started today by asking who shapes a brand today. I'd love to pass the question to you, the audience that are watching this. After hearing both perspectives, has your answer changed? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.